All right, the date's important on this one. So I'm recording this on St. Patrick's Day. For those of you who celebrate St. Patrick's Day in 2020. And this is right smack at the heat of the coronavirus. And I have been watching everything I can, learning everything I can. And I was in real estate way back when interest rates went from 6 to 8 to 15 to 20%, 21 it peaked at. And I was in real estate when the Gulf War happened. And for 6 months, we were very concerned about something very serious militarily. And business slowed down tremendously, almost to a standstill. I was in the business in the 2007, 8, 6, 7, 8, and 9, really 7 and 8 and 9, beginning of 9, time frame when we had the foreclosure crisis and when we had the banking idiocy that allowed people that were unqualified to buy loans, and it caused a complete crash in the housing, in house prices that everybody was afraid of for many years after, and then realized that it was because of poor government policy, not because of supply and demand. And that's for another conversation. My point is that I bring a lot of experience. Some others do as well. But I've stayed active coaching real estate agents and selling real estate through that whole time. I stopped selling real estate a while ago when I was coaching, training, and speaking full time. But I've been working with agents one-on-one every working weekday when I wasn't on vacation for a long time. So I bring some perspective here that I believe could be very valuable to those real estate agents going through this. So I've got a couple of pages of notes from the last couple of days webinars we do at 8:15 in the morning. So I want to share with you some update coronavirus information. I may start this today and then we will continue it tomorrow. We'll just see how it goes. Tomorrow being whenever you listen to the next podcast let's call it Coronavirus Update. Did we say Coronavirus Update 1 yesterday? Do you remember what we called it? No. So we may call it, correct. We'll figure it out. You'll know what they are. They'll have the word coronavirus in the label of the podcast, I hope. So let's start out with where we were yesterday. And that is, yesterday I said coronavirus opportunities are getting clearer and that agents are reporting really amazing. While the coronavirus is going on and a lot of people are withdrawing from business, agents were reporting to me. I had agents from 6 different states I spoke to yesterday and multiple agents from some of those states, all in active markets. So how can that be? How can it be that buyers and sellers are active? Well, for one thing, they're in the age group that's not most dangerous, but they can be carriers of the coronavirus. So there's good reason we've discovered between yesterday and today to consider traveling even less and engaging even less. But there are opportunities. So let's say what we think we know at this point, and it is that the greatest risk is to the elderly and those being treated, people who are being treated for AIDS, even though their symptoms and their disease is under control. People with heart disease, people with kidney disease, people with all kinds of diseases. Now, don't take my word for it, because I don't know about some of these things, how serious it would be. But I was reading just today a litany of people whose conditions are weakened, that they are most vulnerable, which means that the young and the healthy and the old and the healthy are not as vulnerable to it, but they can be carriers. We're seeing many more healthy people, no symptoms, be tested for coronavirus and find out that in fact they are carrying it and can pass it on to other people. So it means that we really want everyone to, that's why the government is cracking down and asking everyone to really stay closer to home, no gatherings of more than 10 people, all kinds of things, including all the major sporting events being canceled. So we have a situation where, it may be wise for everyone. It probably is wise for everyone to travel a lot less. Now, we also know this. Interest rates were already at about the 3.5% or below percent for the last few weeks. And now all of a sudden the Fed has dropped the Fed rate to 0. Now that doesn't mean mortgages will be at zero. The Fed rate was at about 0.75%, and the mortgage rates were at 3.5%. But it may be that this drop will cause mortgage rates to drop even further. The Fed is buying back hundreds of billions of dollars in mortgage-backed securities. This means that the banks will have more mortgage money to lend, smart, and to feed the housing market. You see, way back in that period in the 80s, when interest rates rose, the federal government made some major mistakes. After it was over, it was very interesting. The year after, as it was ending, it was March of 1983. I remember this clearly because we were still selling houses through that period of time using all kinds of techniques, mostly legal, some not so much. But with interest rates at 18, 20%, we were doing whatever we could to survive. After that period, a weird thing happened. The interest rates dropped from 15% to 8%, which 8% is unheard of now, but this happened, within some of your lifetimes. Dropped from 15% to 8%. All of a sudden, the whole economy very quickly, by the end of that year, within 9 months, had gotten crazy healthy, and houses were selling, and people were more optimistic. And the federal government looked at this and they said, wait a minute. The steel industry, the auto industry, the oil industry, none of the major industries that drive the American economy were any healthier. They were taking long to recover, but the one thing that was healthy was the real estate market. So what this caused to happen is the federal government realized, holy cow, the real estate market drives the economy. How can that be? And it makes complete sense. And I'm telling you this as real estate agents so you can pass this on to other people, so that they can be more assured of the solidness, the security of real estate, probably greater than any other investment, including the investment by real estate, I mean including the investment in their own homes. Because here's what happens. Every time a house sells, it has been calculated that there's $10,000 to $20,000 that goes into the local economy. $10,000 to $20,000 goes into the local economy for real estate agent commissions, for bank fees, for attorney's fees, for appraisal fees, for inspection fees. And then after the house is closed, another $10,000 to $20,000 or more goes for lawnmower and paint and wallpaper and additions to houses and all kinds of other things. So every single time a house sells anywhere in America, $20,000 to $50,000 or more goes into that house, and that money goes right into local economies. And that happens everywhere USA. Smallest town, farms, biggest cities, condos, whatever it is. There's nothing that drives the economy like that. Nothing drives more business nor more income into the economy than those things. It's one of the reasons why we were able, probably mistakenly, to take so much of our manufacturing and send it offshore, because real estate was driving the economy for so long. We'll talk about that possibly another time. But the point being, the federal government realized that real estate drove the economy, and therefore they said, man, we have, whether we lower interest rates, remove obstacles, we cannot slow down the sale of real estate because it directly affects the economy. And real estate leads the economy out of a recession every single time. There's another announcement on my phone. We'll have to look at that later. Real estate leads the economy out of every single recession. And it's very likely going to happen again, which means the federal government will do whatever it takes to make real estate healthy and help pull us out of this as quickly as possible, which means at the end of this time frame where there's a softness in the market, at the end of this time frame, there's going to be a pent-up demand that the agents that are ready for it are absolutely going to benefit tremendously from that demand. So I'm going to wrap this up now. We're going to call this background coronavirus for real estate background. And we'll continue tomorrow to talk about all of the ways that you as a real estate agent, well, let me give you a couple right now so you don't have to wait till any other, in case you're listening to this live or some portion of this. You as a real estate agent, you want to be in touch with a lot of people. I have a script I created for our clients here, and it goes like this. Talking to a past client. You want to call every past client you have while you're hibernating, every past client, and say something like this. Sam, I just called to see how you guys are doing. with this virus thing going on, it was, I have more time on my hands, and it was a perfect time to just be in touch with people I like and people I've worked with that I've created a little bit of a bond with. So how are you guys doing? No real estate there, just a connection and a concern. And people will want to talk to you. People are talking to everyone else about this. And once they're in their houses, they're online. So you, in every media you have, whether it's online, with text, with social media posts, with every vehicle you have, using your phone directly to call people and to text people, sending out mailings, sending out postcards, getting things published, use every medium you have to establish. Now, make sure you're sharing accurate information. If you're not sure it's accurate, then give that explanation. Keep yourself up to date, be in communication with people, and you may do some business through this period, but coming out of the other side, when there's a pent-up demand that absolutely drives the economy forward because real estate becomes healthy and much more active again, you're going to be the beneficiaries, and very likely those of you who take these actions are going to far exceed any losses you may take because of a slowdown in the market because of it. And I say that to you with full confidence because I've been through this at least 3 times with major things that significantly, for months or longer, depressed the activity of real estate. I've watched what pent-up demand means, and I've watched it be the benefit to a lot of agents who really were smart and did the things that I'm suggesting that you do as we go through this. So more on the next podcast. Watch for it. We'll call that coronavirus number next, whatever's numbered after this one. So be well, be safe, be smart, and continue to be in touch with people to do everything you can, if not to put deals together now, to put deals together as we come out of this, and to be one of the leaders coming out of this difficult time for many people in this country. But let's make it a little less difficult for you with a lot more optimism.